doing? Joined, as always, by my man Preston Highfield and a game of highs, a game of lows. It's a tough one. It is a tough one. The high, and we'll talk about it plenty. Damian Lillard comes in, hits a free throw, is what it ended up being, but breaks the franchise record for points scored in a career wearing the pinwheel. Past the 18,040 point mark of one Clyde Drexler. That's awesome. You love that, right? You love it. Now it's time for the negative. It did not come in a Blazer victory, as the Blazers fall to OKC 123 to 121. Puts a little bit of a damper on what should have been an absolutely great night for the man, the myth, Damian Lillard. What he did was incredible. He went in, he needed 21 points to break the record, and he got a three-pointer to tie it in Dame fashion. It was from Dame range, right? And then it was, okay, what's going to happen from here? And then he got a little bit cold, and it was okay. What's going on? What's going on? And he figured it out and eventually got to the line. It was a free throw that ended up breaking the all-time record. So good on Damian Lillard. The record is now his. There's got to be a video that I'm sure the Blazers will post to their social media at some point, and we got to have to go find it because they showed on the broadcast that they took the time to acknowledge Damian Lillard in the locker room. And granted, it was the unfortunate loss, so there was some emotions there. Damian Lillard, you could see, was kind of holding back tears. And I think that is a cool thing because this is a guy who has gone out now for a while, for years, guys, and said, I want to be the greatest Blazer of all time. I want to be the greatest Blazer of all time. I want to be the best to ever wear this pinwheel, to ever wear this uniform. And I think becoming the all-time leading scorer goes a long way in achieving that. It might be. He might be the greatest Blazer, especially when you factor in he wants to play his whole career here. There's still plenty of time left. And he could continue to put up a number that is going to be hard to beat. So there was some emotion there, and you like to see that because it means that, all this stuff that he's told you now for years and years and years, it wasn't fake. It wasn't fake. I just think it would have been nice if it would have came in a victory. Late in this one, things got a little hairy, got real close, real late, and then as the Blazers go to inbound the ball, Anthony Simons kind of inexplicably touches the ball. Ball goes out of bounds, turnover. It was this situation here in the last, 90 seconds there, Rip City and Preston, that the Blazers just really gave Oklahoma City every chance they needed to shock them and win that game. And that's unfortunate. You got to take care of business, man. You got to go in there. You got to leave zero doubt. It's like we said pregame. You cannot allow this team to beat you outside of SGA. Now, SGA had a great game. But everyone else on that roster was starting to do things that you shouldn't allow them to do. Like, do you really? I mean, look at this real quick, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 Oklahoma City Thunder players in double figures. Exactly what we said pregame, Preston. That if you ignore everyone else and just think this team won't beat you because they're OKC, they will find ways to beat you. It's wild. That's what happened. Mike Muscala, for some reason, he gets hot when he plays the Blazers. 4 or 5 from deep. And, of course, SGA had 35. Damian Lillard led the Blazers with 28. You got to give it to Jeremy Grant. Had a nice 26-point performance. Anthony Simons had 19. What are your thoughts on this one? Hit up the phone lines. Join us, 503-248-0620. We're also on YouTube right now. Go to the Rip City Radio Twitter account, and you will find a link there. I have also retweeted it at Chris J. Burkhart. You can find Preston at PC_Highfield. One more time, hit up the phone lines, 503-248-0620. Tell us how you're feeling after this tough loss in Oklahoma City. Let's go out to those phone lines. And Ken in Vancouver, you are up on the Rip City Radio fifth quarter. I almost did what Preston did the other night, called it the Rip City Drive. You know, habits are hard to break. Anyway, Ken, welcome in, bud.
Hey, what a gut punch tonight. I am very proud of Dave
Yeah.
tonight, and he played within the game, getting his teammates involved. But for whatever reason, it just didn't happen tonight, man. And I'll tell you, losing Dort gets away with way too much. It's not football, dude.
Oh yeah. I mean, hey, he's a defender. That's what he's gonna do. I do agree. I get what you're laying down. You like basketball, not football, Ken. You stay on brand, which is true to you. I like that.
Yeah, there was just a time tonight when there just was. I mean, the reffing. We have games where we shoot more free throws. They obviously made 15 more free throws tonight, but my problem was with the evenness of the physicality. They allowed them to be physical, push Dame around, push Josh around, and on and on and on. But we would sneeze on them, and it was a foul call. And, and that's not the only reason we lost. I mean, our second unit, Trendon Watford probably had the worst game of his career tonight. He was just brutal. And it wrecks an otherwise stellar performance from Keon, who is really starting to get the shot down. And, I'm sorry, but on a night that should have been so special, it's special, but man.
I feel you, Ken. I mean, the other night when you called Preston, praised you for your optimism, and here you are. You're being a downer for the first time. You're throwing me off, Ken.
I'm sorry, but I guess, and then you see Dame after the game. It's neat. They're handing him the ball and the belt, which is really cool in the locker room, and you could just see it was just seeing him so down. It was like, man, what should have been like, woo! Instead, it's like, this isn't going to come out of the mouth until we blow them guys out on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I feel you. That's Damian Lillard. I mean, I think
and we did miss Nurk.
Yeah, you did miss Nurk, that's for sure, especially against a good rebounding Oklahoma City team. But with Damian Lillard, man, he's the type of guy that's going to tell you that, yeah, I the record's cool, but I probably would have rather had the win in this situation. So we'll see. I think the emotions had more to do with, this is a guy that's always said that this is what he wants to do. He wants to be the greatest Blazer of all time, and I think he just, really, really cemented that in the fact that now he's the greatest scoring Blazer of all time. And the way that guy scores the ball and the way he represents this franchise is huge. So I think that's what led to the emotions. But the win would have definitely helped it. It's just unfortunate, Ken. I feel what you're saying. I think that's why this one is a gut punch. I think in most instances, the loss itself in this way isn't a gut punch, right? Like, it's okay. It's a loss. Move on. You're going to get OKC again in 2 nights. But when you're like, oh, you took the wind out of the sails of what should have been this epic night for Dame, that's when it hurts a little bit.
Thanks again, guys.
Yeah. Love you as always, Ken. Thanks for calling. It's a tough one, man. It is a tough one. I get how fans are feeling. The wins, they'll come. They'll get theirs. At the end of the day, though, man, he is. He's the greatest scorer in Blazers history now, and that stands for something. The loss hurts. The loss is what it is. They shot themselves in the foot a little bit, not only there in the end, but there throughout the game. I didn't think the officiating was as much of a problem, but I never do.
Yeah, I mean, 5 years from now, 1 year from now, no one's going to remember. A few people are going to remember that this record was broken in a loss. Let's be honest. They'll just think more about the actual record. So that's cool. Great call by our guy Demers. Cool video from the locker room, and awesome moment. His kids were there. It looked like his wife was there. A lot of family there. So it was obviously something that was on his mind going into the season. He's spoken about that as much in interviews, and cool to see it happen, man. This defense is a problem.
Oh,
Portland
big time.
is a bad defensive team. Not average, not decent. They're a bad defensive team.
Yeah, that's really, I don't know if that's not debatable right now. Like they want to be, but they like at some point you got to figure it out. You have guys that you say are dogs, right? You have guys that say they know how to play defense. You have Josh Hart, you have Justice Winslow, you have Jeremy Grant, this and that, but there are still too many just head scratchers and decisions that shouldn't be made defensively that are made defensively, which is why I get frustrated wondering where the heck is Gary Payton, because he's the type of guy that, as I've talked with Chad, I think can play quarterback, Preston. That can be that guy on the defense says, I need you here, you here, you here. We need to figure this stuff out.
How about Eugenio Marui, former Duck, getting into the game? Had no idea he was in the league, I'll be honest, but that's awesome. 6 points for OKC. Here's the deal. Oklahoma City's bench torched Portland for 42 points, and they were, I'm not going to do the quick math, but they were like 60 or 70% from the field. Just the bench production continues to kill the Blazers, and it was a decent effort from the 4 guys who played off the bench tonight. Keon got hot from 3 for a little bit, but still only 26 bench points compared to the 42 from, or 46, pardon me, from their side. So just a tough night from the benches as well.
That's always a tough night for the bench when you're the Portland Trailblazers. All right, you want to join in? Hit us up, 503-248-0620. Let's go out to Victor in Turkey, who's been waiting for a while. He's so eager to get on. He called before the show even started. I respect it. All right, Victor, how you doing?
All right, nice to talk to you.
Yeah, it's always nice to talk to you.
I'll be the first non-Native American that congratulate Damian Lillard.
I think you are now.
Yes.
That's a badge of honor, Victor.
Also, I want to say a couple of things about the game. Something about the game.
Yeah, what you got?
I think that a couple of calls, like the last one against the Winslow and one against Josh Hart, the referee gave it to them, to the Thunder. I don't think that was a right call.
Yeah, that was the same thing that was the same thing that Ken was upset about, and we'll see what happens here. You get your last 2-minute reports and all that, and those do happen. Those do happen, absolutely. I think Ken kind of said the same thing there, so maybe you guys are onto something.
Yeah, and also I think the Blazers, the way they could win this game, well, that's my opinion. I think they should have made Ant Simon let's play the whole game. I mean, who cares about that? I mean, they give 40 minutes to Keon Johnson. The Keon Johnson scored 9 points. Now, the thing is, and I told you before, Anthony Simon doesn't get enough respect. You remember the Jazz game that he scored 44 points?
Oh, yeah.
That was an accident. He made many 30-plus points, but for some reason he took him out. The coach took him out and put the Keon Johnson in. When the Keon Johnson was in, if you look at the game again, once they put the Keon Johnson in, the Thunder came back like 10 points or 8 points in a row once they put them in.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but the thing is, Victor, is depth on this team is an issue. We know that. That's what happens when this is another game, as Preston just talked about, that the bench production, whether it was defensively or offensively, wasn't there. So something needs to be fixed along those lines, because if you want to go play Ant all those minutes, go ahead, you can do it, but then you're right back in the same situation you were prior to trading C.J. McCollum and going and doing what you need to do to free up space and start to improve your rosters. It's just not feasible to go play Dame and Ant 40 minutes a night every single night. It's going to run them into the ground. You've seen it before with Damian Lillard when you get to the playoffs, man, and the legs are just dead. So you got to find ways to get your bench to produce when they're on the floor, and maybe it's trades or whatnot, but get people in there to help them out a little bit so that you don't have to play them 40 minutes a night or don't feel like you have to.
Yeah, right. Well, I hope they can upgrade the bench. They don't have a good bench.
Yeah, that's got to be a priority. That and other positions. I mean, people talk about small forward and center and whatnot, but yeah, I think bench is a huge spot that they got to improve. Anyway, Victor, thanks for calling as always, bud, and I appreciate the fact that you were the first non-native American to come on and jump up and celebrate and give Dame some congratulations. That's pretty cool.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, there's Victor as always. Coming up now, we got Dan in Southeast. Dan, welcome into the fifth quarter. What are your takes from this one?
Hey, well, great minds think alike. You summarized a lot of my thoughts. This one hurts, not just because of Dame breaking the record, who I'd love for that to come for a win, with a win, obviously. But you hit the nail on the head. The excitement that we had about this team having a credible defense is kind of out the window. Like, it's a concern, and it's a concern because it feels like we're winning and losing games the same way that we did last year, or in previous seasons under the Stotts regime. Not only, I mean, this team fights every night, and I don't know if we're making enough of the fact that they were missing a ton of guys. They were missing Giddey, they were missing Baisley, they were missing Trey Mann. Those are three starters, Jeremiah Robinson, Earl. So that was a decimated team. And if a team like that has a player like SGA that's, I'm not going to get into a ranking, but he's certainly an elite talent and probably a top 15 player this season, something like that. If you let it get into a situation where he's got an opportunity to win the game on the last second shot, it's just like the Jokic shot that, robbed us at the last second in Denver. If you give a great, an all-star caliber player a shot to win the game, you put yourself in position to lose a game that you probably should win on paper. So it's a frustrating loss. I kind of felt like we missed Nurk a lot. I couldn't believe he's only missed 3 games this season. I was like, really?
Yeah,
I'm so used to him missing, 1 out of 3 games or something.
Yeah.
But I think it's been kind of understated that a lot of times when the offense has been sputtering a little bit or we've needed to push, they just give it to Nurk, and he just muscles in and manages to get us 2 in the paint or go to the line. And I feel like there were a couple points of this game where we could have really used that to just kind of settle things down and just focus on a fairly vanilla hoop in the paint. And tough to have that when you don't have your 7-footer in the middle. Only other thing I got to say is we've been talking all about how Billups is so creative with the rotation and trying different things. But there's also been a concern that can bite you in terms of players not having clear expectations with whether or not they're going to play next night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's cool in the first, couple dozen games of the season, whatever. Shannon Sharp's last 5 games, he all played 20 minutes or more, somewhere between 20 and 29.
Shannon Sharp.
I mean, I'm sure Coach had a reason, but that sort of thing that can cause problems with people not knowing how much they're going to see the floor and everything else. I don't know. Just something to keep an eye on. That's all I got. Tough loss, but hopefully we rebound on the next one.
Yeah, man.
Good
Dan,
City,
thanks
baby,
for
and
the
congrats
call.
to Dane.
Yeah. Great points as always, bud.
Cool.
Yeah, Dan's great. Dan's great, man. He always calls in. He's right on the ball. Makes some great points, and I totally agree with him on the Nurk thing. Man, first off, he said great minds think alike, so he automatically bolts up on my list, of callers that I like. But the Nurk point, I have to agree with him because one thing I've been saying the last few games with you in here and with Chad is there's been games where on the box score, Nurk hasn't looked like he's been super impressive. Like, yeah, he's had his 15 boards, but he's only had 8 points, I think, one night or this and that. You look at the Minnesota series was that one. But he's been really, really good at making sure the ball is always moving. Like either he's going to take it into the paint and do his thing, like Dan said, back to the basket and just, pound the defense a little bit, keep him honest. But he also will go out to the corner and they'll swing it out to him and he'll instantly just find where that open man is and get it back across the court. Been really, really good at making sure the ball doesn't stagnate.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a really good passer. Sometimes the Blazers offense even operates through him at the top of the key. They'll hit him with the ball, free throw line extended, or even out all the way out to the 3-point line, and he can kind of screen and simultaneously whip a bounce pass at the same time because he's a big body. And also what he does is take some pressure off of Eubanks, man, because I think Eubanks is at his best when he's playing like 15 great minutes a game. But when Eubanks has to be out there for a lot longer than that, he can get gassed, man. And it's not really his fault. I mean, anyone who's a kind of a backup big playing big minutes would get tired. And Eubanks is great for the role that he's in when Nurk is in, but when Nurk's out, I mean, obviously that hurts. I mean, the Blazers are already a really small team, and then with Nurk out, Eubanks is the only guy who's around 7 feet.
Yeah, I'm just almost surprised you haven't found ways to go get the other two 7-footers in Butler and Baji, right? Like get them on the floor, do something. But yeah, I agree with the callers there. Definitely missed Nurk a little bit in this one. If you guys want to chime in, 503-248-0620. And shout out to all you callers too afraid to call in, like my friend Justin, who's listening in for the first time. He's like, how do you listen? I sent him the link. I'll send anyone the link if they want to know how to listen to you and I break down games like we know what we're talking about, baby. I'm just here to help.
Let's go.
All right, when we come back, we still got shots of the night to get to. I think you can only imagine what that will be. And plenty more. 503-248-0620. Chris Burkhardt here with Preston Highfield on the fifth quarter on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
First Call Heating and Cooling.
was. It's also these Christmas tunes sitting here throwing me off that I'm hoping, hey, YouTube, don't get mad at us that my other music's not working, so you get some of them Christmas tunes, baby. But it's that time of year. Don't bah humbug me, YouTube. Don't bah humbug me. All right, Preston, we've talked a lot about Damian Lillard. He did. He had a good night. It was a tough loss, but history will be made. I really liked your point you made earlier when you said, in the history books, no one's going to remember how that game ended or that they lost. They're just going to remember that he is the record holder. And to your point,
he's the GOAT.
Well, to your point, I mean, without looking it up on B-ball reference, can anyone tell me the exact game that Clyde Drexler broke the then record? And whether the Blazers won or lost and how? No. All you know is that when he left, he was the all-time leading scorer in franchise history. That's going to be the same thing with Dame. I think a lot of people might forget that it was OKC. They're just going to know because that number is going to continue to balloon. They might forget that at the end of the night, he had 18,048 points because when he's sitting there in the low 20s now, 20,000, 21,000, whatever he goes, you're going to forget. You're going to forget. And the records, all that matters. But the shot itself wasn't epic, but it was historic. It's time for our shot of the night.
It's time for the Nothing But Net Shot of the Night here on the fifth quarter, 620 Rip City Radio. The Nothing But Net Shot of the Night is brought to you by Oregon Dungeness Crab. Sustainably harvested, uniquely delicious, and always wild. Oregon Dungeness Crab always sounds good for dinner.
2 free throws coming here for Damian Lillard. Takes his time at the line. The first free throw from Damian Lillard. Bends the knees. It is good. And there it is. After 53 years of Portland Trailblazers basketball, nobody has scored more points in a Blazers uniform than the letter O. 18,041 points, passing Clyde Drexler for number 1. Damian Lillard is the greatest scorer in Trailblazers history.
Travis had that one in the pocket at the ready. Good call.
Yeah, that's one of those where you're like, you got to think a little bit about what you're going to say. You can't completely freeball that one.
No, not at all. You imagine? I'm not gonna think about that. I mean, I'm an improv guy. I like to go improv. I just like to go. But could you just imagine, like, okay, record set. I didn't prep for this at all, and and he's the all-time leading scorer, guys. Boom goes dynamite.
Yeah. Joe Buck always says, no, I swear I never think about what I'm going to say. And it's like, dude, we all know you script some of your stuff. And I love calling play-by-play myself, so I know how it goes. You're supposed to be unscripted. And that was super natural from Travis. Great call. But, like, he knew, all right, Dame's the all-time leading scorer, passes Clyde, and he kind of knew how he was going to say it. It was awesome, man. Great call. Bummer it happened on a free throw, but good call.
Yeah. I was hoping it was just going to be an emphatic dunk or something, so you just get the freak out.
Well, he had a couple shots. He had a couple shots that missed.
Yeah.
So he had like that floater, and it felt like he was in the game for I don't know what felt like 5 minutes of real time, and until he got it.
I love our YouTube chat. Rachel chimes in, crab, yum, and I'm pretty sure she just types that after every time we do the ad because it's Oregon Dungeness Crab. Like, it's not the first time she said that. She's on that. But anyway, Dog Catcher says I'll commit to remember the fact wrong. Dame broke the all-time franchise scoring record versus the Supersonics. Okay, that's
good.
Okay, see, now that's worth committing to.
That is good.
That is worth committing to. That is unfortunate to think about. This could have happened think about this. If the NBA didn't go ruin everything, this game could have been up in Seattle at Climate Pledge Arena.
That would have been
Sonics,
electric.
Blazers. Blazer fans could have been there. Oh, man. Thanks to the Dog Catcher for just ruining my reality with the alternate reality that should be our current reality, if any of that made sense. Oh, that's pain right there. That's pain. All right, the Blazers, they'll take this one. They'll watch it. They'll figure out what they need to do because they have to turn around and do it again on Wednesday. And Coach Billups talked to the team after the game, and then he talked to the media. Let's hear what he had to say in the Coach's Corner.
It's time for the Coach's Corner with Chauncey Billups on Blazers Game Day, presented by Henderson & Daughter. Henderson & Daughter has been supplying superior design service, quality windows, entry doors, patio doors, and window installation to the
About 2 minutes of audio.
area since 1977. Before you decide to just replace your current windows or exterior doors, have our designers present you with a free in-home design consultation and estimate to show you the different styles we carry that can give your home a fresh new look. Henderson & Daughter, your window and door experts.
No, I mean, obviously Shea had a big-time game. He stayed in our paint. He's a great ISO player. He lives in the paint, and he draws fouls. For him to go 14 for 14, it's tough to pressure and be physical, with a guy like that who knows how to draw fouls very well. But, I thought there's some of their offensive rebounds kind of hurt us, but the biggest thing is we turned it over too much in the fourth quarter.
I also rolled on about 3 minutes of Dame from the TV feed, I don't know if you want to play on something else.
Tried to get the ball and turn over.
Okay.
Big play, huge play. So just unlucky on that possession.
Are you talking about on the inbound pass?
Yeah.
I'm a vet. What can I say? I'm a vet.
Throwing it to Dame. Dame was wide open. They both kind of doubled Ant, and just unlucky play.
You mentioned Shea. He was listed as out. Does that impact your preparation when someone's listed as out and then also not playing?
Well, not really, because once today we came in.
About a minute.
It was kind of listed as questionable. We figure out when I see questionable, I count it as he's in. So we started to talk about what he does and the plays that they run for him. So no, I don't think that impacted the game.
Any other questions? How do you appreciate the little mini celebration? You call timeout to get him out? Is that to give him a moment to sort of?
No, I called timeout really just to so we can all show him some love. It was his time to come out anyway, but I really blew a timeout just to so we can all embrace him a little bit and then move on.
Coach, you guys sort of have a baseball series going on tonight, and then the next game.
Pat from Hermiston will be on.
Playing the same team twice.
It doesn't change too much. I mean, obviously, we'll watch the game and see where we got hurt the most and talk about it and try to make changes for the next one.
All right, there you have it, Coach Billups. Like I said, they'll watch the tape, figure it out, try to make changes for the next one. And the next one is in less than 48 hours. You want to chime in, give us your thoughts, hit the phone line, 503-248-0620. Let's go out to the phone lines right now where we have Pat from Hermiston. Pat, welcome into the fifth quarter.
Hey, guys. I'm calling Dallas home from Salem and driving up north. But I've had an hour to get over, get that. And what I'm going to say is that three things. Number one, it's appropriate to decide that record on a 37-footer. That's what he does.
Hey,
it's
hey,
appropriate
Pat.
that he broke it at free throw line.
Hey, Pat, I'm going to...
Because he's the lead at top. And then finally, broke it in a loss, but every game we win from now on, he's going to be breaking the record again. So there you go. All he's got to do is keep winning, and he can get that.
All right. Well, Pat, I tried my best to hear you, bud. You were cutting in and out there. I think you said you were driving. You were in Salem. I know you drive around a little bit there, but sorry, I couldn't hear you. But you're right. Every shot, well, technically right. Every shot he makes from here out, he's going to be breaking the record. He's not going to be breaking the record, though. He's going to be setting the new record. That's what he's going to be doing. And I think this is interesting. We did this math the other day, Preston. They had, if you take the 18,040 that was Clyde's number, it made the Blazers like the 20th highest, 20th best. That would be the 10th worst franchise record for points. I mean, you continue to go up, and you have teams that have, 34,000 in the 20,000s. I think it's interesting to think, where is he going to end, Preston? Like, he's going to get into the 20s, right? Does he does he get into the 25? Does he hit the rare mark where you're at, 30,000? Like it's not out of the realm of possibility for him to go make a number, hit a record that might not be broken.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take someone else playing a long time at a high level. I think his career average is 24 points a game, and that's for over 10 seasons now. And he's on contract, and I would imagine plans to stay through at least his mid-30s, if not later. So, yeah, I mean, you're looking for the foreseeable future. You're looking at the Blazers' all-time leading scorer. I don't think it's going to be anyone else who's currently on the team. I mean, it would have to be like Ant going crazy for 12 years, but I think you got
the year
Dame.
2036 when Shaden Sharp breaks it.
There you go.
On an emphatic dunk, Kevin Calabro. Oh!
I'm sure Kevin Calabro would have loved for the game to be in Seattle tonight. Big Seattle guy.
Oh yeah, there you go. The dog catcher just ruined the entire game for us, man. Ruined the entire game. All right, you got. You want to get your thoughts in here? 503-248-0620. Just do us a favor. Make sure you're in a spot where your cell phone works, or even better, use a landline. They're nice and reliable. What's a landline? Preston doesn't know. He's too young for that. He's only known cell phones his entire life. I'm gonna have to explain it to him during the break. Catch us on YouTube as well at youtube.com/@RipCityRadio. Blazers fall in OKC. It hurt. It hurt a lot. 123-121. Damian Lillard sets the all-time scoring record for the Blazers franchise, and we will hear from the franchise's new scoring leader when we return on the fifth quarter here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Blazers Drive of the Night here on the fifth quarter, hosted by Chad Dewing, 620 Rip City Radio. Drive of the Night is brought to you by Dick's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Wilsonville, ready to compete with the lowest prices in town.
Thunder without a foul to give. Winslow will get it in from the near sideline. Holds on to it. Gets it to Dame. Dame slips, drives, goes up and under, around, banks it in! Ties the game with 3.2 seconds left, and the Thunder will use their last timeout as they have one final chance.
That's a bad man, that Damian Lillard.
There you go. There's your drive of the night. Damian Lillard is a bad man. That is for sure. Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here filling in for Chad Dewing, joined by my man Preston Highfield. We had some questions here on our YouTube, Preston. One of those questions was, because I said, Dame's not breaking the record now. Every single time he scores, he's setting the record, right? So Dog Catcher asked, is there another player currently setting their franchise scoring record with each score? And the answer to that, for anyone who is wondering, is yes. There are 3 players currently active in the NBA playing for the team for which they hold the team's all-time scoring record. That would be Steph Curry for the Golden State Warriors, currently at 20,843 points. Damian Lillard for your Portland Trailblazers at 18,048 points, passing Clyde Drexler tonight. And Giannis Antetokounmpo with 15,063 points for the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, outside of that, there are 7 other active players in the NBA who are a franchise's all-time leading scorer, but no longer play for that franchise. That would be Brook Lopez, who holds the scoring record for the Nets, Anthony Davis with the Pelicans, Dwight Howard, who technically active. I guess he's a free agent, could sign if he got out of his, where's he playing? Taiwan right now? Okay. But Dwight Howard with the Magic. Mike Conley is the Grizzlies' all-time leading scorer. Kemba Walker with the Hornets. DeMar DeRozan with the Raptors. Russell Westbrook with the Seattle Supersonics. Thanks for that one, Dog Catcher. And LeBron James with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So there's your answer. There is your answer. Now, of all of those, only one of them broke the record tonight, and that was Damian Lillard. And it is now time to hear from him. Let's go inside the Blazers locker room with Damian Lillard.
It's time to go inside the locker room with Damian Lillard, presented by Oregon Dungeness Crab. Sustainably harvested, uniquely delicious, and always wild. Oregon Dungeness Crab always sounds good for dinner.
Sometimes, and I end up looking back and I'm like, man, that was pretty cool. But the moment is, 2 years pass, and I look back and I'm like, I got to be better about that. And I think when I made the free throw, I was like mad about something. So I just kind of came to the bench and I just like, everybody was clapping and I heard them say it and I was like, man, I got to chill. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I didn't want to come in and make it about that. I was just, wanting to do what we had to do to win the game. So,
sometimes the highlights are under the audio because it's on the TV.
And I kind of turned.
Yeah.
That's what really lighted me up, where I was like, man, all right. It brought me back to what I had just accomplished. And, I just appreciate them taking the time in the visiting arena to acknowledge a major accomplishment of mine.
With his dinosaurs in his hand.
I know, yeah, 2 of them in his hand. I was like, yes.
Would you have preferred to have broken the record on the 3 bearing this right before that? Or does it matter?
I mean, it don't really matter. Getting there is getting there, no matter how it happened. So I don't know how to express it. I wasn't out there shooting to get to it. I was just taking the shots that, we need to score this possession or whatever. So it was whatever, I didn't really care how it came.
First of all, congrats on the record.
Thank
I want to ask you about something pertaining to Shea. Throughout your career, there's been a lot of questions like the #FreeDame and people trying to get you out of there. But I'm asking that as it pertains to Shea because there's been a lot of the same external pressure. What type of advice would you have for him?
I mean, people have said it to me, and in my career, I've won a lot of games. What I haven't done is won the championship.
About 2 minutes left.
Yeah, every year. We won a lot of games. And, my advice would be he's in a situation where he's playing free. They believe in him. He's got a group of guys that understands that, he's the leader. He's the guy. And in the position he's in, his career is in a great position. You know, he's off to a great start, and he's coming into his own with that. And, you know, I would say the grass is not always greener on the other side. You never know what it's going to look like or, you know, how the next team might view you, you know, especially when you've had some injuries like he's had. You just don't know. And also, I would tell him that a lot of these people that are saying free him and all of these things or whatever, they are not the people that's going to have to live with the consequences if it doesn't work out. And they're not going to have to ever walk in his shoes. So it's very easy for people to say those types of things when they also know that they won't ever be held responsible or they won't ever be affected by it. So that would be my advice to him.
What's next for you now? I guess obviously you passed the scoring. Like, what's your next goal, or what are the goals that are going to look forward to next?
Not lose 2 games in a row here. I mean, this was one that we needed to get. So dropping this game, we got to get the next one. You know, I'm not really. I think I was very aware of getting close to this record, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. But I think everybody else was more on the countdown and more focused on it than I was, to be honest with you. So it's not like nothing is going to change for me going to the next game. It's like we got to win this game and get it done.
5 seconds.
And now as far as that, I just separate myself from Clyde, I guess.
All right, there you go. There's Damian Lillard. I do like how he was asked about it, he being Coach Billups, about that late game timeout. And he's like, yeah, we kind of called it just to let him celebrate. And then there was an adorable moment where Dame Jr. came down and kind of congratulated him on the side of the bench there, which is pretty cool, pretty cool. And then Oklahoma City, that franchise, that fan base deserves some credit too, because apparently they, according to a tweet from Casey Holdahl, mentioned it on the board during the timeout, and he got a standing O there, and OKC from those fans, which is pretty cool. Now, another comment here on YouTube. Join us there. Have some comments if you don't want to call in. If you want to call in, hit us up, 503-248-0620. Is Truly Spencer, did he ask that? No, sorry. That was a different comment. The dog catcher asked again that when Dame topped 18,000 career points, he was 76th all-time NBA career scorer. Another thing to ponder is how high on that list will he climb? Well, there's about 50 games left of the season. If he continues at his average this season, which is 28.3, he'll land somewhere around 19,400 points when the year is said and done. And that would put him right around Jamal Crawford, who currently, because you never know if he could come back. Heck, he could play if he's 50 because the dude was just a walking bucket. But Jamal Crawford, 19,419 points, and he is 58th all time. So very, very realistic that Dame could creep into the 50s and very closely crack that pretty soon. With John Stockton is at 51 with 19,711. So there you go. There's your answer on that. Fans, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to get you a stat of the night, scoreboard update, and then take a break because we deserve it. That was a tough one. Blazers fall to Oklahoma City on a last-second shot, 123-121. Chris Burkhardt here with Preston Highfield on the 5th quarter on Rip City Radio, your home of the Portland Trailblazers. All right, welcome back in to the fifth quarter. Chris Burgar here, filling in for Chad Joing, and it is time for your stat of the night. Tonight, Damian Lillard passed Clyde Drexler on the Trailblazers' all-time scoring list. He ended the night with 18,048 points, which is 8 more points than the 18,040 that Clyde Drexler scored as a Blazer. Significant is the fact that, the three-point shot in today's NBA is huge because Clyde Drexler set that record in 12 seasons, playing 867 games with the Blazers. Damian Lillard did it in 11 seasons, playing 730 games. That is 137 fewer games than Clyde to break the record. The power of the three-point shot, Preston.
No doubt. No doubt. But pay respect to your elders, man. Pay respect to your elders. The great Clyde Drexler.
The great. I still think he's the Blazer GOAT myself.
Really?
Dame will likely end there, but there's something to be said about those trips to the NBA Finals. Like,
Absolutely.
Dame just needs to get there one time. Just one time. Get there.
Yeah.
Get there. And then it's solid for me. Until then,
I'm with you on that.
It's at least debatable.
I think that's a great point, though. I really do. I mean, it was, dude, remember even in the Jordan doc? I mean, obviously early 90s was when I was just being born and when you were 4 or 5. But, like, we've watched the docs at this point. Like, dude, Clyde was the swingman, was the guy who a lot of people said was a threat to Jordan. And remember even Jordan that had that great quote. He said, Clyde was a threat. Clyde was a threat, but I didn't think he was on my level. Like, that was the quote. And so, but that's how good Clyde was. People were literally like, hey, the Blazers are in the finals, and they got this guy Clyde who can hang with MJ.
Yeah, it's true. He was great. He was absolutely great. But until then, there's a debate still. I think you could ask me again next week, and maybe I'll sway. It's Dame. Ask me tomorrow. It's like asking me what my favorite Metallica song is. It changes depending on the day and the weather. All right, Preston. The Blazers took the L tonight, but as Han says, you don't want to dwell on that. It's a big night for Damian Lillard. That's the key here. But they weren't the only team to play tonight. It is time for a scoreboard report.
The fifth quarter on 620 Rip City Radio presents the Scoreboard Report, brought to you by the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill, A-Lene's ultimate venue for sports fans every Monday night, featuring beer and wing specials and more.
All right, a quick look around the league. 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The Hornets lead the Kings 99-92. LaMelo Ball, 13 points and 11 assists. Baby Sabas, 23 points, 18 rebounds, 6 assists. The NBA needs to do us a favor and just get Sabas where he belongs here in the Pacific Northwest. Final in Cleveland, the Jazz fall to their former teammate Donovan Mitchell, 122-99 in Cleveland. Lauri Markkanen, 24.6 boards. Jarrett Allen, 20, 11, and 3 blocks. The Raptors fall to the 76ers in Philly, 104-101. Pascal Siakam led the way with 38 points, 15 rebounds. Joel Embiid, 28 points and 11 rebounds. The Hawks took down the Magic just by 1 point, 126-125. Trae Young, 37 points, 13 assists. Markelle Fultz, a nice 24.6 rebound, 9 assist performance. The Spurs beat the Rockets 124-105. The Mavericks lost to the Timberwolves 116-106. The Bucks beat the Pelicans 128-119, a 42-10 per night for Giannis. 37-18 for Jonas Valanciunas. That is a great night for him. Blazers 123-121. We've been down that road. The only significant thing to say is Damian Lillard, now your franchise's all-time leading scorer. And in Phoenix, the Suns took down the Lakers 130-104. Chris Paul, 28 points and 8 assists. And Dennis Schroeder led the Lakers with 30 points. And that is your updated scoreboard from around the league. All right, Preston, any last thoughts before we wrap a bow on this one?
Just spinning it positively. I mean, it's really cool to see a player become the all-time leading anything for the Trailblazers. I mean, you and I have both grown up in the area, been watching Blazers basketball for a couple of decades now, and just the loyalty that Dame has for this franchise is awesome, man. I mean, people around the league can call it cheesy or call it whatever they want, but it's sick that Dame is this loyal to Portland and Portland's loyal back to him. And it's a special moment tonight. Obviously, bummer that it happened in a loss. You could see Dame's body language in the press conference. He was kind of down, actually. I mean, he was happy, but like his body language looked sad because he was like, man, we really just kind of lost to the Thunder. Like we're a team that's trying to contend. We shouldn't be losing to the Thunder, but that happens. Blazers got a long way to go on defense. That's for dang sure. But just awesome to witness history tonight. And Dame's the man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you're getting some chats here. Matt says that Clyde finished second in the MVP, something Dame hasn't even smelled. That's why Dame is the second best Blazer. I mean, Dame did finish fourth in voting, which is his highest. Take away that second, the highest Clyde finished was fifth. So it's not like he was sniffing them every single year. But I get the point. I mean, second is higher than fourth. That's just math, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the debate will rage on. I think the thing to me when it comes to the GOATs of the Blazers, Preston, is I don't like factoring in, like, how a guy left. Like, oh, he left on bad terms, he can't be the greatest. Or people who get upset with the way the LaMarcus situation was handled and, oh, he's not one of the greatest Blazers of all time. LaMarcus Aldridge is probably the best power forward to ever wear a Blazer uniform.
Yeah, I mean, I would take Rashid, but he didn't play here for long enough.
You can't.
Oh, Rashid was way better than LaMarcus.
No.
Dude, he had like 36 points in that Game 7.
But Rashid was good. Rashid had a motor that was only turned on when he wanted it to turn on. LaMarcus Aldridge every single night. And I say this as a Rasheed Wallace stan. My favorite player ever in the NBA is Rasheed Wallace.
Really?
And LaMarcus was
Dude,
a better
prime Sheed leading the Blazers to the conference
was a
finals.
better Blazer
Go ahead.
than Rasheed Wallace. Prime Rasheed Wallace had his best runs there with Detroit. Wasn't even with Portland. Nice try, Preston.
Go ahead.
Nice try, Preston.
Go ahead. LaMarcus won one playoff series and dipped out.
Well, if our rankings are the stats that they accumulate and this and that, he blows Sheed out of the water. So nice try though.
That's fine.
Nice try. I'm just.
Then LeBron's better than MJ because his stats blow him out of the water.
You and your crazy takes. Just knock it off. Just knock it off.
I mean, if we're just talking stats.
Give me the strength, Lord Chad Dooling of Rip City Radio. Give me the strength to endure Preston Highfield moving forward. All right, before we leave, I do have to give one more shout out. I told my buddy Justin, who was listening. He just texted me. He's an old soul, Preston. You haven't hit 30 yet, so none of your friends are old souls.
I'm basically 30, but yeah, I'm not quite 30.
Yeah, but you haven't hit it. The world is completely different when your age starts with a 3. Everything changes. Up until then,
that's true. Everyone respects you more.
You still text your buddies at midnight, and you're like, "Dude, let's go party. Bars are still open." Yep, you do.
I've not done that in a minute.
I don't know about that, sir. You probably did. You just don't remember. See, exactly. Now, my buddy Justin, he's just a nice.
Let you roll with this.
Yeah, he's just a nice old soul. So he texts me. He's like, "How much longer does this show go? Because it's almost my bedtime. It's 9 o'clock, bro. 9 o'clock.
Oh, if you think this is a late Blazer show, wait till they tip at 7:30.
Yeah, he definitely ain't tuning in after home games. I'll tell you that much. But I just had to tell him I'd give him and his wife Corey a shout out for listening and supporting us, Preston. The more support we get, the closer we get to our own show. But that's gonna do it for us tonight here.